G'day, if you don't know, my name is Morrigan and today I really want to talk about aspirational clutter. Firstly, I want to apologise if you can hear my ceiling fan, but it is the dead of summer here in Queensland and we are all boiling alive. So I've got my fan on and I hope it doesn't create too much distraction. Now, I've been doing a little bit of reading on aspirational clutter for the last couple of weeks because I am looking into organisation and decluttering at the moment. And aspirational clutter is essentially exactly what it sounds like. It's items or objects we have in the house that relate to our aspirations, that are taking up space and not being used, and are putting some pressure on us and not really generating particularly positive experiences. That being said, I understand that aspirational clutter is a bit of a sensitive topic because it relates to people's goals and aspirations. However, I think my take on the topic is slightly different to the resources that I've been reading at the moment, so please let me share with you what my understanding of this topic might be. So for me, I think that there is a solid difference between aspirational items and aspirational clutter. So just in general, as I said, aspirational items are things that we have in the house that relate to our goals, our dreams, things we want to achieve, skills we want to develop, topics we have a general interest in. And I think when our interest is legitimate, these are just aspirational items. They're not clutter. We genuinely have an interest in the topic or the activity, and so these are things that we would engage in if we had the time, if we had potentially the motivation, if life wasn't getting in the way. That, I think, is very different to aspirational clutter. So what's aspirational clutter? So for me, aspirational clutter are objects and items we have in the house that relate to aspirations, just very possibly not our aspirations. So maybe somewhere along the line you got told that you should be something professionally, but that's not really what you want to do with your life. Or maybe you got told that you had a particular aptitude for a topic, but you don't really have a genuine interest in that topic. Maybe somewhere along the line you got told that you should look a certain type of way, but really that's not you. Yet you have accumulated items and objects around these different aspirations. That to me is very much aspirational clutter. And I think we all get these messages. I think they come from a range of different sources. I'm not here to speculate on what those sources might be, but I think we've all internalized some messaging that we should do and be certain things in order to be okay. I think one of the best ways we can go through our houses and look at the aspirational items we have and determine whether they are just aspirational items or whether they are in fact aspirational clutter is to look at the feelings that come up when we genuinely look at and think about these items. So do you feel genuinely excited? Do you feel genuinely interested? Is this something that you would legitimately love to be good at, love to know a lot about, love to achieve? Or is this something that you think you have to do in order to be okay? You ought to do it, you should do it, you can do it, but you don't really want to. And if you don't, you feel a bit of shame about it. If you feel shame, then I think this is clutter. I think this is something you have in your house that is possibly having a negative impact on you, and you should maybe come to grips with the fact that these aren't really your legitimate interests, and maybe you should start looking at decluttering these items. Now, there's another type of aspirational clutter, I think, and these are objects that actually relate to our genuine interests and our genuine goals. They're just excess to our needs. So I know for myself, when I first start getting interested in a topic, I can do a deep dive, I can get very invested, and I can start accumulating a lot of stuff that I really don't need given my level of knowledge or my level of skill. Those excess items maybe are clutter, at least for the moment. I've gone too hard, too fast, and accumulated too much. And you maybe have done the same, or maybe not. Maybe you're a lot more restrained than me. But I think items we have that relate to our genuine interests, our genuine goals, but we have a lot of them, much more than we need, that might start to become clutter, and we could maybe look at decluttering some of those items too. Now, what does all of this mean? So I think it's great that I have a working definition of what I think is aspirational clutter, and you might not agree. That's fine, you do you. For me, I am very much going to differentiate between aspirational items and aspirational clutter. There are some people that just go ham and are like, if you're not working on this goal at the moment, if this isn't something that you have incorporated into your life now, it's clutter and you should start decluttering these items. I don't have that approach to this. I think sometimes life gets in the way. Some of us have kids, some of us have very demanding jobs, some of us have other things we have to concentrate on for the moment. And I think that's just life. But if you have a genuine interest in it, if it's something you really want, I don't see any reason to get rid of the item. I think it still, at least to some degree, brings you joy. So for me, I'm going to start going through my house now and identifying the types of aspirational clutter I have. And I am guessing I have quite a few different items. And my plan of attack is this. I think that I'm going to do something that's much akin to what a lot of people are doing at the moment with their wardrobes, where they turn all of the clothes that they have in the wardrobe, they turn the hangers back to front. And as they wear the items, they put them on the hanger and they turn them the right way around. And then at the end of the year, they see what items are still sitting on the back to front hangers, and they start to think about whether they should declutter those items. I'm going to do the same sort of thing with my aspirational clutter. I'm going to try as hard as I can to start incorporating these items into my routines for 2024. If I haven't managed to do that, and I'm not regularly using these items by the end of the year, I will think about decluttering them. I'm not guaranteeing that I will, because as I said, I'm not taking a hard and fast approach to this. I think life just gets in the way sometimes, and we're all, or at least the majority of us, are quite tired at the moment, and we should give ourselves some grace. But I will think about it. Now, let's go through my house and see what I've managed to accumulate. Okay, so the first aspirational item I have that may or may not be clutter is the keyboard that I have sitting in the spare room. I have always wanted to be able to play an instrument, but it's not something I learnt as a kid, and learning as an adult kind of really sucks sometimes. I started to try and learn, but I got discouraged pretty quick. I think once you build up some momentum in the thing that you're learning, you're okay, but the beginning of the learning process is always the hardest, just because you're starting from scratch and everything is hard. Nothing is easy yet. Nevertheless, I would still really love to be able to play an instrument, and I have invested some money buying multiple beginner books, so I'm not ready to give this away just yet. I just think maybe I need to just toughen up a little bit and give this another go. I've also stashed away a bunch of exercise gear in the spare room under the bed. I, again, would really love to be fit. I would love to be one of those girls in high school that was super athletic, that nobody messed with, but I'm not. I'm super nerdy. But I still have invested in multiple different types of exercise gear. I have weights and yoga stuff and boxing stuff, and half of it I haven't even taken out of the packaging. So I think 2024 needs to be the year I make a concerted effort to get fit. Otherwise, I need to start looking at giving some of this stuff away. Now, on the topic of sports, I am Australian. Specifically, I live in Queensland, and water sports are pretty common for us because it's so hot here. So I have 3 wakeboards, and yet I have not wakeboarded for years now. I would actually sell at least one of these because I don't need 3 even when I am wakeboarding, but at this point I can't even remember which wakeboard is my favorite. It's been so long since I've done it. Another outdoorsy sort of thing I have is a bunch of camping gear. I used to go camping with friends periodically, but I have Harriet now, and I hate leaving her for more than overnight. I just think it's cruel, and it just doesn't sit well with me doing that to her. But I've invested, I don't even know how much money in different types of camping gear, and it's all just sitting in the house getting dusty. Another thing I've stashed under the house is a bunch of upcycling gear. During quarantine, I watched a bunch of YouTubers who were upcycling secondhand furniture, and I really loved the fact that these were girls using power tools. I thought that was really cool. So I went out and bought some paints and some wood stainers and a sanding tool, and tried sanding for the first time and genuinely hated it with a passion. Sanding is not fun, and it took me forever to sand down my first piece of secondhand furniture. This particular type of aspirational item that I have may already be aspirational clutter. I don't know if I'm ever going to use these things again because I didn't enjoy it when I tried it. And the last type of aspirational item I found in my house is my needlepoint stuff. So this might be a strange interest, but I really love embroidery. I love embroidered clothes. I think they're beautiful. I would love to be able to do this. It's so stunning. When it's done really well, it's gorgeous. But for some reason, I've been really scared to even try, and I don't know why. I've tried cross stitch, but I've never tried, I think it's called needlepoint or like embroidery, like long stitch. I don't know why it scares me as much as it does. Maybe it's just the idea of trying and it being a total disaster, but I have not even tried it. I'm too scared. So all up, I found 6 different categories of aspirational items in my house. And I've got a year to try and put these things into practice, to try to incorporate these different items into my daily or weekly routines. And at the end of 2024, I'll reassess and see if I've been able to do that, or whether I might need to start thinking about letting some of these items go.